Welcome back to the Scoundrels Den, Scoundrels. Hope you're all doing well. If you'd like to join the Den, subscribe button down below. There's also a link to G2A in the description below. Thank you for sponsoring the channel. So, what are we talking about today? We are going to be talking about one of the bigger changes that happened as a result of this morning's patch, and it is the pirate AI changes. What happened with the pirate AI? Well, previously, pirates used to lock onto the first target that they came across, and they would stay locked onto that target for up to 5 minutes. If they were doing no damage or you went too far away, they would then switch to the next closest target, but it would take about 5 minutes for that to happen. That has all changed. That allowed people to do hard missions when they weren't potentially capable of doing so by just having 2 accounts, having one account in a really cheap frigate that flew in first, took the aggro and ran away, and then their second account would come in and deal all the damage. And that was allowing people to solo very easily storyline missions. You are not able to do that anymore because the pirates now, after about a 5-second delay, end up targeting the closest target to them at all times. So there is no more 5 minutes, there is no more cheesing with a 150-kilometer range frigate. The pirates and the AI will always now target the closest target to them after about a 5-second delay. And I'm going to show you an example of that. The only thing that I think you could potentially do to game the system is maybe by having 2 accounts orbiting at a similar range and then trying to just jump in and out of range every so often, every 5 or 10 seconds. But it would require a lot of hands-on work. It would be very difficult, and I don't think it's going to be particularly easy to pull off. So now your best bet at using a multi-box account is by having 2 accounts actually dealing damage. And that's more likely going to be successful than if you were just trying to run, or you're just going to have to learn to solo, basically. But let's jump into a brief example that I filmed earlier on today, and we'll talk a little bit about and show some specific examples of when pirates end up targeting and dropping targeting on my 2 ships. It is a big change, big change. Most people will consider this a good change because I would say that that was a very cheesy way to do storyline missions and to do missions in general. So most people will likely be happy with this change, but power farmers who farmed very high tier story missions before they were capable of doing so, you're going to find it difficult now. It's also worth mentioning if you play in fleets, this is going to be something that will impact your fleet clearing of anomalies and dead spaces. So just be aware you can no longer cheese them by just having one member run all the way out to 150k and just chill there. You're going to have to juggle aggro properly. Someone is going to have to actively tank. You're going to have to micro your tank in and out. It will make these encounters more challenging overall. So let's jump into that example. Hello guys, welcome. This is just going to be the part of the video where I am going to test some things when it comes to the new changes to the AI. I'm going to do a very basic test here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to warp the... Oh, I just warped this in at 0. Stop. Okay, so I warped it in at 0. Never mind. It'll be a good test. What I'm going to do is I'm going to turn and burn with my slasher really quickly. I'm going to sort of travel and then approach and just run for it. So I'm going to turn and burn with my slasher, which you can see over here. Yeah, I'm going to turn and burn with my slasher, and then I am going to just see what happens here. So I've targeted all these guys. I'm going to orbit this. I'm going to just have a look at my slasher, and already, so I'm oh god. So I am still targeted by these guys, but I'm now also targeted, and they are locked on. So they've actually switched over to locking on to me on my main account. So they immediately, I haven't even got that far away from them, okay? So I'm going to approach this guy again. I have just gone out of range, and as soon as I am out of a certain range, they have just immediately turned over and started attacking the closest target, which was me. So I'm going to start killing a couple of these guys just to make sure I don't die. I might actually do it on this guy here. If I were to get closer, so let's say if I'm to get a little bit closer here. Let's orbit Excoundrel. Like, let's orbit him at 0. I'm not going to kill this guy. I'm just going to wait. So I think I'm now getting closer, So I am now closer to the stabber than I am on my Excoundrel account. So you can see that I'm 10 kilometers away from it here. It's now locking onto me. It's taking a while to lock onto me. Excoundrel is still getting shot, but it has now switched target over to me. It's switched directly over to my stabber. So I'm going to approach the station again. It's still attacking Excoundrel for the time being. It is still attacking Excoundrel. I'm going to orbit this guy at like 6 kilometers. So it is still trying to shoot Excoundrel, which is my main character. Okay, now it's starting to shoot me. Now it's starting to shoot the other guy. So it seems like the AI has changed completely in the sense that it will just attack the closest target to it, and it has a very short time window in order for that to happen. It doesn't look like you are able to juggle aggro at like 200 or 150 kilometers anymore. So the days of multi-boxing to get away with stuff for free, that's basically donezo. I don't actually need this guy, so I'm going to get him to approach the station, and I am just going to kill these guys now. So that was a little bit messy, I know. I'll try and edit it down so it doesn't look so messy. But essentially, what you need to know now is that clearly it's not as easy to just randomly alt tank encounters anymore. So you can't cheese storyline missions with 2 accounts. You have to do it legitimately with 2 accounts. So you can multi-box in the normal way where you have 2 accounts that actually do something and you're basically running 2 characters. But you can no longer cheese storyline missions by having a frigate or an alt account draw aggro at 200 kilometers whilst you just go in and kill everything. Now you have to legitimately run 2 accounts doing an anomaly like you would do normally and actually try and approach things from range, or you're gonna have to try and solo them. So you are no longer able to cheese. And from my testing just in this little this tiny little test here, it does look like essentially you are not able to you're not able to get away with it. If you get close, you end up taking the aggro. I mean, I could even try it again. Let's just approach Excoundrel. I'll kill everything except for the last stabber, and we'll try it again just to be sure. So they are currently all on Excoundrel. They are not locking both of us. I imagine when I get into within range, they'll start to lock my... Okay, so we're not getting locked on my ult just yet. We are... Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to approach this guy. We're going to orbit him. We're going to orbit him at a closer angle than Excoundrel is. Okay, so I'm now orbiting at 4 kilometers on my ult, and I am orbiting at 8 kilometers or 9 kilometers on my main. Sorry, I accidentally dragged the screen. I should lock that. It's still attacking Excoundrel for the time being, but it is now locking my ult. It has now red boxed my ult, so my ult is just within a smaller distance of Excoundrel. And if I zoom in here, it's now trying to shoot. I believe it is now trying to shoot my ult. Just keep an eye. Just waiting for it to take a shot. Yeah, it's not actually. It's trying to attack my. It's trying to attack my stabber. So you could maybe speed tank in an ult, but it's very risky and you have to have the right skills. So you might be able to speed tank in an ult whilst you're on your main killing things, but that is much more risky and you have to have the right skills for it. So that was a good little test. Now we know exactly what's going on. Alright, that was a good test, guys, and it also means that you're going to have to now do things either that you can effectively solo, or you're going to have to legitimately have 2 characters that do real damage and actually contribute to a storyline mission, because there's no point having an ult unless you are going to have one that speed tanks. Now, I think it is possible to have a speed tanking frigate that you just leave AFK speed tanking, like one of the biggest cruisers closest to it, but you have to remember, if you are approaching the pack, the outside of the pack will start to lock on to the targets coming into them if they are closer to the units coming in than they are from the speed tanking frigate on the inside. But if you guys figure out a way to effectively use 2 accounts other than just straight up having 2 accounts in like cruisers dealing range damage, then feel free to chuck it my way and we can discuss it and see how it goes. But for now, thank you. I hope you enjoyed the content. If you are enjoying it, feel free to subscribe and join the Scoundrel Den. And I'll be having a video on strip mining coming out as well. I'm probably going to do 2 videos today because I'm really behind on a certain obligation. Cool. I will see you soon.